Hello everybody, welcome to this week's episode of The County Seat. I'm your host, Chad Booth. Today we will be having a discussion about Pilt, payment in lieu of taxes. You know, in county government, we get our services and they are covered mostly by paying property taxes. But what happens in a county where you have vast tracts of federal public land? And they still require police service, fire, they have to respond to fires, search and rescue, road maintenance, and a list of other activities. So how do you cover the costs of those activities when the federal lands themselves, by law, are exempt from property taxes?
The agreement that Utah made when it entered the Union was that it would not tax the undesignated federal lands within its boundaries. The understanding at the time was that at some point in the future, those lands would be transferred from federal ownership to state or private property. From the time Utah entered the Union in 1896 until 1976, and the passage of the Federal Lands Policy Management Act, or FLPMA, there was a shift in national policy from the sale and disposal of federal lands to retention and conservation. This created a hardship for counties that had very little private land for a tax base and large tracts of federal land that couldn't be taxed but still required county services. In 1982, the Federal Lands Management Policy Act was amended by Congress to include Pilt, or payment in lieu of taxes, to make up for the losses in property tax due to non-taxable land within the county. Pilt laid out a dollar amount to be paid per acre dependent upon population of up to 50,000 people.
It's a payment by the federal government to an individual county for the land which the federal government owns, to which the county performs services, just like it does to any landowner. If you own a home, you're receiving services, you're paying a tax for the services that you receive. In the case of the federal government, you can't tax them directly, of course. So the Congress passed what they call a payment in lieu of the tax. It's a property tax, just like a property service fee, just like anyone else who owns property is required to pay. It offsets the cost the county has to provide services because they're providing road maintenance across those lands, they're providing garbage collection and pickup on many of those lands, providing search and rescue for people who get lost on those lands. So yeah, there's a benefit to the people that are using it. To the county, it's a partial payment for the cost that they expend to have the land in their county and have to provide the service. It's not a full payment.
While Pilt seemed to be a solution for counties with large tracts of federal land and a small tax base, it wasn't until 2008 that Congress finally fully funded Pilt.
Yeah, it's just been the last 6 or 7 years that Pilt has been fully funded. You know, it was passed in 1976 with FLPMA, and when I was first elected in '96, we were about 30% funded, and then gradually worked up. I mean, it was an annual thing going back to Congress and lobbying for Pilt. I did that every year for a number of years, and then Congressman Hansen finally got us up to about 60–70% fully funded, and then it was fully funded and guaranteed for a 5-year period. The last 2 years we've been back on a year-to-year basis, and it's you know, it's really not fair to the counties to do that. This is something that we get because the government has so much control of our lands and doesn't pay any property tax on anything, and so this ought to be an automatic payment to us.
The counties, unlike the federal government, are statutorily required to have a balanced budget every year. The uncertainty created by a year-to-year decision by Congress on whether to pay Pilt and at what rate makes the budgeting process for counties difficult because there's no way to know how many dollars will be coming from the federal government. County budgets are typically decided by the end of December, but the payments from Pilt don't come until June.
First of all, we budget our county to provide the services to those lands that are not privately held or state held, and then we anticipate a payment from the federal government. And in Iron County, the full amount that we have that we budget for comes from kind of a formula that they use based on population and total of acreage.
19 of Utah's counties last year received over $1 million each in Pilt funding. Statewide, a total of $35 million for 32 million acres of public land. That was the status in 2013. When we come back, we will take a look at Pilt. We will take a look at the wild and erratic journey it's taken to get to funding this year after this commercial break.
Cedar City, Utah is home of the Tony Award-winning Utah Shakespeare Festival. But did you know that we also offer a different kind of play?
Escape the gray. Head south for clear skies. Cedar City, Bryan Head. It's where play is the thing.
Making sure your food is safe. It starts on the farm and continues every step of the way, all the way to your local grocery store. So when you bring home food for your family, you do so with the peace of mind that it's safe, fresh, and nutritious. Utah Department of Agriculture and Food, the guardians of Utah's food supply and sustainable agriculture. Visit ag.utah.gov for more information.
The best part about raising children here in Vernal and the Uinta Basin is just the smaller community that makes you feel like when you go somewhere, you know everybody.
So we packed up our 3 kids and here we came to Uinta County. And what a great place it was. What a great move. Great schools, great outdoor activities. Just a really great place to raise your family.
My father, he was an engineer for Chevron, retired 39 some odd years. And Jeff, my husband, it's the same way. He's always worked in the oil and gas, always had a job here. And with that industry, when it does good, the whole valley thrives.
Uinta Basin's been fantastic in supporting what we've tried to do both as a business and also in the development of mountain bike trails and the sport of mountain biking.
I'm able to run up to a beautiful place like this and spend some good quality time. It's one of the big reasons why I live where I live.
And that makes it just a wonderful place to have little ones like this.
Kanab, base camp for your southern Utah adventures. You belong in Kanab.
How would you spend an extra day in Utah Valley? Stay one more day. Visit utahvalley.com to make reservations. Utah Valley. Bring everyone together.